Lions fans, welcome to the women's basketball preview video. I'm Rick Rissetto here with the brand new head coach of the Molloy Lions women's basketball team, a familiar face to the Molloy community, and Joe Pellicane. Joe, first of all, welcome back officially to Molloy, and what does it mean for you to be back here in Rockville Center?
Well, thank you for the compliment as far as a brand new coach. I've been doing it a few years, but obviously, in all sincerity, Molloy College, as we all know, is a terrific academic institution. From an athletic standpoint, they've had some really good teams across the board in all their sports. So when they asked me to come back and be part of the family here, it was an easy decision.
Now, for you, going through your career and through your lineage, obviously you had great success in D2 with Dowling. Last few years you were with St. John's as an assistant. What has kind of been really your main ideal, like your main focus as a coach when it comes to working with new players, working with players that have been here before, especially when you're adjusting to a brand new, quote-unquote, collegial environment?
I've been very lucky to have this profession as a teacher coach for 30 years, and it never gets old. You learn every day. You learn every day from your kids. You learn from the profession if you really care about it. You don't ever stop learning. And there are a good group of young ladies here. Unfortunately for them, I'm their third coach for the seniors in 4 years. So I'm asking the Molloy family to be patient. The kids are working hard, but please be patient. We're not going to be overnight success, but we hope as the year evolves that the product is going to continue to improve.
We talked about adjustment for you, but let's talk about adjustment for them. You mentioned the seniors, third new coach in 4 years. What does that do psyche-wise for them when it's their last year and they've got a brand new system to learn and a brand new way of basketball to kind of work with?
There are different ways to play the game of basketball. You could have Doc Rivers come in and run his system. You could have Coach Ariema come in. He's had some success at UConn. He could come in and run his system. And then you could have a knucklehead like Joe Pellicane come in and run his system. So once again, terminology could be different for them. I have to be constantly prepared to be a teacher, not a screamer, not someone who just demands with their foot, but be positive in reinforcement of certain values. And yet, there are some things that are non-negotiable. Being professional has nothing to do with playing in the NBA or the WNBA. Being professional in any walk of life is showing that you care, being on time, being altruistic in nature, care about your teammates, and do that each and every day. And if we achieve that, I know, speaking for myself, I will be very pleased.
Let's talk a little bit about your coaching staff. How important was it for you to bring in the pieces that you did? Seja and Kristen obviously have played under your system before, so they know what it's like. And having Divine Jackson here as a fourth, what does all of that mean to you going forward this year?
There's a pretty good guy. We're about the same age. He's got me a little bit. A guy by the name of Krzyzewski, I believe his name is, a Duke. And when you look at Coach K, his staff through the years have been young men who's played for him. They know how he is on the court, off the court. They know how he is when they lose games. They know how he is with disappointments. So for me to have these two magnificent young ladies and Divine Jackson, who is just a terrific young man, as part of our staff, it's a home run.
Let's talk a little bit now about the team. Obviously, let's start with the core for those seniors that we have. Alex Hampton, Alexia O'Connor, Kimani Jackson, Allie Leftridge. Now, Leftridge was a transfer, so she hasn't – this is her second new coach. But, you know, for Kimani, for Alexi, and for Alex, as you mentioned, 3 and 4, what are you seeing from them going this year as seniors? Are they a little more used to that leadership role? Are they a little more excited about this year? What do you think you're seeing out of them?
I am very, very pleased with the senior leadership I've seen in the 2 months. They've been altruistic. They've reached out to the younger player. They've reached out to the coaching staff. They sweep the court. They bring the water bucket out. They don't come on the court and say, I'm a senior. So we're hoping in our own little private world here to dedicate the season to those 4 seniors. You mentioned Allie. Allie started on a D1 level, and I am her third coach as well, not the third coach here. So we'd like to dedicate the season to the seniors, and hopefully they're going to have some memories for a lifetime.
Now, Kimani and Alex are both taller players. Obviously, they do stretch out a lot more, and they do take the jump shot when necessary. Lexi's a girl who likes to shoot that three ball, and Alex has been a good floor general, was in her freshman year, kind of dipped off a little bit. But what, playing-wise, are we going to see all four of them on the court at the same time maybe, or what's kind of the game plan for you going forward?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm going to try to instill a new program. We're going to put 6 people on the court at once. And I know I have some personal friends still here, like LIU Post, and she said we could try it out and see how it works out. But absolutely, you'll see the seniors out there, and it's a learning situation for all of us. We don't have a starting unit. We don't have someone that's going in for just 1 for 2, 2 for 3. We have to really be a team. We have to continue to be a team, and you have to go through the trials and tribulations to get there.
With everybody else that you have coming in, along with the freshmen and the underclassmen, the thing that I get the most out of the practices that I've seen is that your mindset is going to be, we're not going to put up 70, 80 points a night, but we're going to put the defensive level up to a tempo where they won't score more than 60. They'll score in the 50s. They may score in the 40s, and you'll be okay with that. Am I correct on that point?
I would be more than okay. I'd be thrilled. And as you know, it's been a cornerstone through the years, and I'm so proud to tell you that in 2013, 2 years ago, not just giving points per game, but the defensive field goal percentage, we were number 1 in the country the year before as well with the defensive field goal percentage. If your kids defend as a unit every night, you give yourself a chance. And we hope to instill that, but that's easier said than done. You have to demand it, and they have to really want to do it.
Let's talk about this conference. Obviously, UDC in the past few years has really been on a tear, but everyone's talking about Queens and NYIT. They were the teams that were in the final game last year. LIU Post has been a perennial favorite, and your former school, Dowling, is coming back. They've had some good successes here and there. This is going to be a tough conference, especially now that Roberts, Wesleyan, and Damon are fully eligible as well. So what is the expectation, what is the anticipation like going into this regular season as well as conference play?
Well, of course, as you know, I know the conference pretty well, with the exception of the last 2 years. 10 years ago, you did not have, on the women's side, 3 teams going to the NCAA tournament. Usually it was the postseason winner who went to the NCAA tournament. The last several years, 3 teams have gone on more than one occasion. 2 have gone several times. And coming into the season, there's no question that Queens and New York Tech are 2 of the most outstanding teams in the East. But there's going to be company. And you have some other terrific coaches. Stack, she's been there. He's done a wonderful job. And now you have Coach Burrows at UDC. He's been there. So you have terrific coaches in the league. And you have some fully complemented programs. I expect the league to be a very, very competitive one. And at the end of the year, I expect 2 or 3 teams to go to the NCAA tournament once again.
Before I ask you about the start of the season when you guys go to Wilmington, Delaware for 2 games, you only start the fall semester on a 4-game road trip, and then you have 2 home games, all of the end of 2015 before 2016. Does that, I can tell that bothers you a little bit, but what kind of message do you say to your team about the fact that you're not going to be at home a lot at the end of the year, but come 2016, come conference season, you'll have your home games? Does that worry you at all that they're going to be jet lagged on the road too much?
We have 1 home game, as you know, the first semester. How do you look at things? Is the glass half empty? Well, when you go on the road, especially some overnight trips, you have a chance to bond quicker than you would if you didn't have those trips. And that's how we're going to approach it. We're going to be spending time after a game. We're not going to look at the scoreboard and let that dictate to any future success we may or may not have. We're not going to point fingers after a loss. We're going to bond. We're going to look at video. And the kids know that when we lose a game, The responsibility, first and foremost, is right here. It goes right here. And then, of course, it filters down to each of them and what their responsibility is going forward. So we hope to bond. We hope that it's going to be a positive experience. And then the second half of the year, we get to play 11 of the final 18 at home.
So your final question, you open the season down in Wilmington, the ECC CACC Challenge with Bloomfield College and Wilmington University, two very good teams from this region as well. What's the anticipation, what's the mindset going in there, knowing that you guys are one game and then one game the very next day? You're staying down there, as you mentioned, focusing on bonding and getting the team all set. What's the mindset going into this tournament that weekend?
Well, we're very pleased that we're going to open up against Bloomfield. They're wonderful. They're one of the best teams. They were voted by all their coaches as the #1 team in the CACC. So I've always believed, play the very best. You'll always get a true mindset as to where you are on both sides of the floor, because you can't take a possession off when you're playing a talent group like they are. And regardless of whatever the outcome is, you need to get ready for the next opponent, because at the end of the year, this is exactly, you play, and if you're fortunate enough to win, you play the next day. So that's how we're going to treat it. There's not going to be any predictions. I never have, never will make predictions, but I'm very pleased with their attitudes, and we hope to present some exciting moments for Molloy family.
Will you at least predict that it'll be a fun year for you?
We can do this again in April, and I certainly can let you know. Absolutely.
Joe, thanks for the time. Best luck to you this season.
Thank you, sir.